right, a very, very good morning to you, waking up to us. This is the Kokoliriko live show, the first one for this week, and I must say it's also a very lovely morning that is from our headquarters in Narua City. I don't know how it is in the other parts of the world, but I must say you are most welcome to the show, and this is definitely a show that also will have an impact on you. And remember, today we are going to be discussing issue that is related to security, where we are seeing our young boys, our young people getting very much engaged. That is in criminality cases ranging from the use of border borders to broad day robbery and also other cases and the likes of the formation of the gang groups. We're also going to be talking something about that. And remember, we are going to be joined by Alfred Matua Etokira and also later on the show, Oshino Rashid, the chairperson of security, that he is the councillor also for Bazaar Ward. He will also be joining us on the show, and remember, we are going to be doing that with you. And really, it is a great pleasure having you on the board, really, I must say. But really, to begin off with the show, so many things happened over the weekend. That is from Friday, I must say, where we did witness a lot of good things. And really, somebody may be asking a lot of good things. What about the bad ones? And I must say, on a sad note, the killings of using the guns is still going on, where we did see one of the Buganda chiefs being that is murdered. But the good thing with the security, the people of that area, we are a bit vigilant. They were able to also pursue the killers, and they lynched these two to death. And the police, the motorcycle that these two were using was actually recovered together with the gun. And really, that is something I also want to call upon now people of the other parts of the world to also start adopting, because if they start doing that, then maybe at the end of the day, boys, maybe the criminals who would want to use the guns of innocent people would also really desist from. And I don't know what to think about it. And to me, that was something that was quite good, and really where we did see actually the people behind the killing. I mean, the killers also being killed. That was quite good, because really this is where we see an eye for an eye. But I would not want to really also encourage that, because police is against mob justice, and really also the laws do not permit mob justice, but they rather also promote that if this were to be arrested, it would actually aid in police investigations of who the other killers were. Because, you know, over time we have been witnessing our leaders being killed using these guns, but none of them has actually been brought to book. And this, to me, was the opportunity to really also caution these people. But now, when you know, also when when public is angry, sometimes it becomes very difficult. More so when intervention by security agencies also is a bit delayed. So I think these two also were killed, and after that, they also just the way they also did kill, that is the chief. And that is the clan head of Ndiga clan. You know, Buganda also has those clans where these people belong to, and this was the one for Ndiga. He was murdered on his way back home, that is to Mengo. And really, I must say, this is something that which was not quite good, but I want to say, this is some tendencies of that is wanting to kill each other, because really, it is not something that is quite good, because at the end of the day, really, we are murdering innocent people who have families to look out for. Because really, who are these people really also, where do they get these guns from? This is something that really beats my understanding sometimes, but really with no answers. But really, I believe also Fande Etokira will be able to explain to us more about this when he joins us shortly from now. Really, I must say, I'm expecting them to be answering these questions and also more, because really our young people are being engaged in the formation of groups where we are seeing the gangsters. Right now, there is an ongoing fight. We will also be alluding to that. I must say that this is where also I want to say let's desist from tendencies of the formation of the groups, because these young people, once they continue to engage in these groups, definitely it becomes very, very bad. And this is where we are seeing the numbers of these boys on the streets increasing. Each and every day, the numbers of boys becoming thieves, becoming robbers is increasing, because really I also do understand that sometimes there are some people behind these moves here. So I think there is need for us to also understand why these people are coming on board really without anything. Could it be any way of really us helping these people? That is also something I'm posing to you. Definitely you'll be able to sort of share your feedback with us on the various media outforms. So for those of you watching us online, more so on Facebook and YouTube, and not forgetting X, you can also really drop your comments there, and we shall be able to really read them clearly. So I think it is very, very much important for you to really also be part of the show. And now, moving away from that, on Friday we did see the Mufti of Uganda also being in the city, and he was actually here to launch the project that is for the construction of Irshad Mosque Business Complex. And this was something I must say is quite good, because really for the project that is about 2 billion, we are going to be seeing the mosque project being constructed, where we're also going to be seeing lockups, that is for the Muslims to be also constructed. I think this is something good, because really we are expecting now the religious leaders to get themselves empowered by themselves, because really if such a project is constructed, definitely we are going to be seeing revenues from which maybe our religious leaders, instead of them becoming beggars, really they're also going to really also see something earned for themselves. And this is why we also need to support, as public, we need to support such projects, because once they stand up, we also get to see the livelihoods of our religious leaders improving, like it is happening elsewhere. I must say, in some of the parts of this country, more so central region, we are able to see our imams driving, and really our imams living some good kind of lives. But when it comes to the other parts of the world, you really see our imams are suffering. So I think such projects is quite good. This is why we need to support. And for those Muslims and non-Muslims who have not donated to this cause, this is still the right time. You can still go out and donate, because this is also the way you're going to purify your soul, because really that project entirely depends on us. That is the public. So there's need for you to really go out and donate, in terms of maybe if you feel you cannot donate, that is maybe also cash. You can donate other kind of relief assortments. For instance, you can choose to donate food, you can choose to donate cement, you can choose to donate anything really which can be used in this process, because really it is going to house the mosque and also some shops and a parking yard, which is quite good, which will also at the end of the day generate money for the Muslims. So I think this is something that we need to really also congratulate Muslims for, and really we also need to support the Muslims in this cause, because if we do not support them as the members of the public, as I said earlier on, it is the Muslims, first of all, themselves to support this project. And then secondly, also the well-wishers, and this can be the business community, this can be the Christians, and just like how we did see in the fundraising. And this was something I must say was also really quite good for me. And I must say he also used this platform and chance to talk about reconciliation and peace. And remember, right now, he has been really facing challenges. That is where some people wanted to oust him out of the place. That was fights that we did see happening at all Kampala. But one thing I must say that did happen is that the people of this sub-region were able to rally behind him. And this is something that was really quite good. And calling for unity is now the way to go, and also reconciliation among the Muslims. And remember, in Arua City in particular, we now have the two factions going on. That is the Chibuli, that is of the Supreme Administration, then Uganda Muslim Spring Council of all Kampala, but where we did see the Mufti appearing in the country, and the city in particular, he also did talk about reconciliation. He called those who had crossed over to the other faction to really come back, and told them there's need for us to work together as Muslims. There's no need for us to really keep on deviating from here and there. There's no need for us to really move away from Uganda Muslim Spring Council, because the founder of this body is actually the late, that is Idi Amin Dada, the former president of Uganda. He was actually the one who played the instrumental role, that is in formation of the Uganda Muslim Spring Council. So there's no need for us as Muslims of West Nile sub-region to really move away to the Supreme Leader. So that was his message. And he also really called for unity, that let's support one another. And he also said, he thanked actually the people of this sub-region, where the dust that was happening at all Kampala, they stood behind him. And really this was something I must say was also really the message that His Eminency, that is Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje, did pose out to the Muslims of this sub-region during the Friday sermon. He was actually at the mosque. He also did talk about this. And now also the other leaders, more so the vice chairperson, that is Haji Abon Muzamil, who was also in attendance, and Abon, who is actually also a son of the soil, who is from this sub-region, did also talk about this. He said, why do you want to ruin, that is the good favors that was actually is going to be bestowed upon the leaders of this sub-region, who were instrumental in the formation of this Muslim body, and really you want to move away, also really disorganizable. So this call for unity and disunity to be put aside was actually the main message that was during this Friday meeting between the Muslims, which did also attract the business community. It attracted the politicians, the clergy, and the Muslim faithfuls, among other stakeholders. Really, I must say this was quite something that was quite good. And really, if it goes on that way, then definitely we are going to be seeing the livelihoods of our Muslims also being improved, and then us also being brought together, because really without unity, such projects cannot be supported, because really if we are as one body, and then definitely such projects can continue to go on. And I must say this is something also really we need to support on, and that is something I must say, and if we continue to support it, definitely we are going to be seeing that also really creating the unity that we want to see. And now moving away from that, moving to Maracha District, the Maracha District commissions a brand new ambulance. This is something that I must say is also quite good, because as districts and really and the municipalities are commissioning, that is the brand new ambulances that have been donated by the government. We expect these ambulances to be put into right use, because if it's not done so, then definitely we may see our ambulances breaking down, which may not be quite good there. So I think there's need for us to really also put these ambulances into the right use, because if that is not the case, then definitely we are not going to be also seeing the intended purposes of these ambulances. Remember, recently we did see some of these ambulances on the roads, but right now we are not seeing them happening and really driving on the roads. And one of the honorable members of parliament from this city did actually donate these ambulances to the constituencies of this city, and now we're not seeing any of them. I will not mention which ambulances I'm talking about, but really for one who may be observant, you may not be able to see these ambulances on the road right now, which was actually something that did attract, also did encourage people a lot, which came with excitement when these new nice ambulances were actually put on the road and for the different constituencies. But now it's quite unfortunate that we cannot see these ambulances on the road anymore. I don't know where they are. I don't know where they are parked and grounded. But I think there's need for us to also really, investigate where these ambulances are, because these ones that have been donated may also end up in the same way. Really, we do not expect these ambulances to be grounded maybe after 2 years, after 3 years, after 5 years. We expect them to live more than that. So that calls for efforts of us working together. The drivers, you need to drive these ambulances very well. The ones in charge who are actually responsible for boarding out these ambulances for transporting these patients from one place to another, you also need to ensure that these ambulances are driven very well, and maybe their maintenance also needs to be done well. So I think that is something I must say officials in Maracha did have on Friday when they were unveiling this ambulance that is with registration number that is UG 814, that is 8144M, that was given to them by the Minister of Health following a lobbying follow-ups by the members of parliament and the other leaders. And this is something also I must say is quite good, because these ambulances are really there to ensure that the patients who cannot be treated from where they are can also be referred from one hospital to another, because really some of the health facilities may not be able to accommodate certain sicknesses. So I think that is where it calls for referrals, and this is where we need these ambulances. And also at times we have also been seeing these ambulances being used for ferrying dead bodies, which I must say there's a move in Moyo district that is rare to also see that there's a ban on that is the ambulances being used for ferrying corpses. I'll also be talking very much little about that. But I think this is something I must say that is good. Assistant District Health Officer in charge of maternal and child health, Ms. Draru Jessica Edria, thank the area members of parliament and the other leaders for ensuring that this ambulance really comes to their rescue. Because if that is not done so, then definitely we may not see the health of the people there improving. Because if that is not done so, really you know why these ambulances are very good. If you are somebody who has ever been to a hospital, you will know what I'm talking about. At one time, really, you will need referrals, and once you need referrals, it is quite expensive for you to hire private vehicles. And that is why the use of these ambulances, it is quite good. So I think there is need for us to ensure that these ambulances, I must say now, because we have seen most of the districts unveiling, where we did see Terego also recently unveiling, but something which was politicized, because somebody was saying, oh, why must this ambulance be taken to Terego East? And where we did see also the leaders are raising their complaints here and there. Now also with the unveiling of this new ambulance that is going to, that is Maracha. So I think there's need really for us to ensure that we work together. We ensure that these ambulances are put in proper use. They should not be used for ferrying, that is illegal goods, because just like what we did see a few months ago, where ambulance that belongs to one of the districts was being used for transporting smuggled cigarettes and was impounded in Pakwach. Something that which was quite bad, because really that is going to force police to start stopping these ambulances so that checkups are done, which may also really put the lives of these health patients at risk. So I think there's no need for us to really ensure that we use these ambulances into bad use. That could also really have devastating impacts. And now, according to information that we are seeing, Marasa District now has a total of 4 ambulances, with 2 bought by the area member of parliament, that is the Honorable Driwaru Jennifer, 1 donated by Belgium government, and this one that is coming from, that is the Ministry of Health, and that is something that I must say is quite good, because if that is not done so, definitely the lives of our patients who may need referrals may also be put at risk. So I think that is something that we want to summarize that discussion with. And now moving away to Moyo District, but still related to ambulances and health. There's a move ban, that is a move by the district of Moyo, the authorities of Moyo General Hospital to ban the public, and they also want the public to stop approaching the hospital administration, requesting them to use the ambulance for transporting their dead bodies of their loved ones, saying the ambulance is for transporting, not for dead bodies, but really we're also saying that there's no need for us to use this ambulance, because really one thing I must say is that over time, some people have been having the fears. Really, one thing I must also say, while I was growing, I used to fear ambulances because I knew ambulances for transporting dead bodies, because where we used to live in our areas, at times we could see dead bodies being brought using these ambulances, which also did raise fears a lot in us, and that is something that we could not actually use these ambulances for. So I think that is one thing that we also really have to talk about, and most people in the district have been using, that is Moyo General Hospital Administration really requesting for them to use the ambulances for transporting dead bodies, and that is something the hospital administration is now moving towards banning. And really they're saying this needs to be banned, because in the near future their proposal is going to be lifted, so that nobody is going to be using ambulance that is for transporting dead bodies, but rather it will strictly be used for transporting, that is, the sick patients. And for those whose loved ones may die, you will be able to also really use the other means of public transport. For instance, you can hire the other pickups or maybe the other vehicles, so that you can be able to solely transport your dead bodies with. And really that is what we want to summarize, that discussion related to ambulance and health, as we bounce back with security. And really we're expecting, we are going to be joined by, that is Alfred Matue Tokira from Uganda Police Force, and also Honorable Shino Rashid. He is also the chairperson responsible for security within the city, and they will be able to tell us more about that kind of and growing insecurity among the young people today, as we also expect them to talk about the formation of the gang groups. And I must say something deadly is going out, and really this is also going to have impacts among the young people, where we are seeing actually more than 2 lives being lost, according to information, maybe also rumors, which we are seeing that these boys have killed 2. Really, I will also be asking them about that. But for now, let us run in for a short commercial break that will usher us into that discussion. But for now, let's first have this break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on StarTimes. StarTimes brings brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your StarTimes subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. StarTimes, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
short commercial break. This is still the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile TV, channel 0073 on Zuku, and streaming us online. And that is from wherever you could be watching us from. I must say you are welcome back from that commercial break, and now have been joined by the two guests I didn't tell you about, and they are responsible in charge of security that is within the city and West Nile sub-region at large. And I am joined by, that is Matua Alfred Tokira on my right. He is the community liaison officer, and really without wasting any time, if you can really also introduce himself to you and say a good morning to you, that would be quite good. And really you're most welcome, Mr. Alfred Tokira. You're most welcome.
Yes, good morning dear viewer. Good morning presenter. I'm glad to be here to discuss matters of security. Yeah.
Yes, as you can also see on your screen, that is Honorable Oshino Rashid. He is the chairperson in charge of security. He also doubles as the councillor, that is for Bazaar Ward, one of the areas within the city center. So he is a councillor representing town people. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, viewers. I am called Honorable Oshino Rashid, councillor representing Bazaar Ward, Secretary for Security and Social Services and West Central Division.
Yes, as you can really clearly hear from him, he is responsible for security, and both of them are really in charge of security, one from the political wing and the other from police. Definitely we expect very much from them as we are steady heading into the discussion. And I must say, if you have any questions, please do not fear. Have that is just the question typed on the various feedback generating platforms, and definitely I will also be extending it to them. And for those of you streaming us, that is from the other parts of the world, you could be watching us from overseas, the other parts of Africa as well, and not forgetting other parts also away from, that's West Nile sub-region, but still, if you have the connection to West Nile, definitely you will be able to solely share your comments with us, and that is how far we may also be able to help the community. And now that in security, there's something that we have been talking about where our people are really facing challenges. That is the broad day robbery of the young people who snatch handbags, who will also snatch people's phones, and this is through the use of motorcycles. And now, if I can be able to really also start with, that is Alfred Matua Tokira, to tell us more about this, definitely that would be quite good. Where is the gap? Really, we have seen several campaigns going on that is in relation to ending this vice, which I believe is growing on and on, and really we're also seeing now there's a deadly fight that is going on that is within the ghetto community. This is where they call themselves, but this is the criminal gangs, the leaders. We also really going to be talking something small about, and I also be expecting the two to also really put some hint on that as far as they have gone with the investigations, because we have seen the police trying to do patrols here and there, and also really putting away these groups that have been gathered along roadsides, maybe have also been gathered in some areas, have destroyed, and really that is how far maybe police has been doing that. But really, I want to ask, that is Alfred Matua Tokira, to tell us what they have been doing as police to ensure that this vice that is making our people to continue suffering ends. What have you been doing as police, and maybe where is the gap?
Yeah, good morning viewers once again. As Ali introduced, Inspector of Police Alfred Matua Tokira is my name. I'm the Community Liaison Officer for Arua Central Business Division. My role is to link the community directly to the police. Viewers, if you see Arua City, before it became a city a few years ago, the dynamics of crime in the city were not like today. I want to say that the general situation of Arua City is not all that alarming. We say it is relatively calm in the sense that nothing that should cause too much alarm in the community is happening. That does not mean that when we say it is relatively calm, there are no instances of crime. No. You will realize that from the onset that Arua was pronounced a city, of course everyone wants to be in the city. A number of activities are now going within the city. Developments are going on, as well as the wrongdoers are planning also to survive within the city. Now, from the time Arua was designated a city, we started noticing a number of, I call them radicalized, or I call them criminal gangs, criminal youths, who are somehow organized into groups, giving hell to the community within Arua city. Originally, we had criminal groups or criminal youth gangs called the Fire Eaters, the Pumbulu Group, the 35 Dogs, and many others, the San Siro Group, and others. These groups, when we noticed their presence within the community, of course, as police, through intelligence, we started following them up. And as I talk today, you may not hear of much of the Fire Eaters, but you will hear of other emerging groups, other new names in the arena. These are not actually warring groups that people should feel they have capacity to cause what they plan to do in Arua wholesomely. As police were in charge, these are isolated groups of youth who form themselves into those small groups of theirs with an intention also to survive within the city. They go snatching bags, they go snatching valuables like phones, laptops. The groups we had originally were deep into breaking into people's shops, houses in villages, stealing goats, chicken, and other things. But now the groups we have now, they are basically on the streets. They use numberless motorcycles. Others even use motorcycles that are registered with fake numbers at times. And their modus operandi is that they ride slow where a lady is moving with a bag. They pull that bag by force. If you are speaking on phone, you're talking on your mobile phone, on the streets, they grab those. Gone are the days where people used to throw purported bundles of money on the streets to lure people that money has dropped from them, and then they take them aside with the promise that they are going to divide money, and people end up being looted. Due to the intensive security awareness to the community about these crimes, you can see in Arua City the crime of dropping bundles of papers covered with money is now reducing. But now the rise is in the stealing on numberless motorcycles. When police got a shift in the modus operandi of these thugs to motorcycles, police also changed tactics because our operations are mostly intelligence-led. Intelligence showed that these people have shifted from the other crude ways of theirs. They are now on the streets, moving on motorcycles. And you realize that we used to do operations on foot, operations on vehicles, police patrol cars. Arua City, after serious meetings with security partners within the city, we came up with the motorized patrols on motorcycles. This one now, the motorcycles give us a fair chase, because when these people would loot the ride and branch of the main road where a vehicle cannot go, but this time the police is able to take on them in a race of motorcycles up to where they are going. And then we also carry out targeted operations which are intelligence led in those groups, in areas where these people gather to plan and carry out the activities from. There are places here within the city where these people sit in groups, plan the activities, and then disperse in different directions to execute their missions. So we also carry out operations in such places, and we are making big achievements. If I can put to the community what targeted operations we did where we had a big catch. On the 9th of this month, the police carried out operations in the basis of these criminal gangs at Awindiri. There is this sports, the health club, Tuambe, which is on Afra Road, where these criminal gangs also go and sit there and target people who go there for their health things and to play football. Krabusel, Drivers Corner, San Siro areas, Arua public stretch, right from Concord up to Naja Secondary, even which stretches up to Air Japan. Bamboo Village, police managed to arrest 46 suspects, and 5 numberless motorcycles were captured in that operation.
Maybe sorry to cut you short.
Yes.
Maybe this could be the good interventions. Maybe security is doing to see to it that this advice that we are talking about is brought down. But maybe the gap could really be very much that we do not understand. Maybe if I can be able to really bring in Honorable Shino Rashid from the political side of it all. Where is the gap really? What is not happening? Because despite all these efforts by police and other security agencies, we are not seeing results. And you as the political leaders, what are you doing to see that these people that elect you, maybe these people that gave you the votes, who are within the society, are transformed? What are you doing to see that these numbers are really brought down?
Thank you very much. In a very special way, I want to thank the police security division so far for the efforts that my friend here has explained, the hideouts, so far the few operations that they have done. I want to thank them tirelessly. And as a community leader, I want to tell the implementers of the law that the community still lives in fear because of what is transpiring. As a community leader, we are allowed to do as leaders from local level up to the highest level. As you know, this region has been denied the power for the last 36 years. So it could be one of the effects that children have become so idle. This power here helps a lot in establishment of industry and other activities in relation to power. So when you go to other regions, you find all youths are busy because the regions have power. See, places like Karamata, which is very far from Kampala, that is connected to power, they are using electricity for their cattle. But for us here, we don't have power, and our youths have become completely idle. And let me tell you, power has greatly contributed to the idleness of this region. Let me say 70%. But right now we are seeing there is improvement in the power supply. We don't know if it is very stable or enough to establish industries so that our youth will be employed in that sector. This is one. And secondly, as a leader, we should also do more of lobbying. We need to engage ourselves in lobbying for the youths. If we don't consider these youths, we are not going to find out the future of the youths. And so long as we sit, we dilly-dally around, the youths their numbers keeps growing, and they keep becoming more idle, and other insecurity-related activities keep
So
happening.
in other words, what you're trying to say is that if these boys were engaged into other productive government activities, for instance, the PDM that is going on, of which many of them say they have not been engaged and involved in these projects here, could we see maybe that they could get transformed?
Yeah, exactly. These programs here, they are not much involved, but I am now convinced that few are now involved. There are few that are now involved. You also see most of these boys who have come here, you see the insecurity that has right now escalating. Most of these guys have come from Sudan. And you know they are in groups. They are big in numbers. And from Sudan has brought a system where you are found stealing, you will be killed instantly. So that practice alone has chased them this side of Arua. So they have come all in big numbers and they are threatening the community. And the ghetto youth that have been particularly here in Arua, I want to say that 40% to 50% have transformed. So these other ones that have come from Sudan have come and strengthened this, and they're also trying to pull them away from their engagement of being transformed. So we are saying that we need to step up as a community to see that these things are addressed properly. And the gaps that I am seeing here is one. The police central division is really doing enough to address the situation. But we are having the DPCs, IVE East, IVE West. We have never seen that these two DPCs are requesting for manpower from Arua Central Division. So what could be happening? These people who were coming to Central Division to terrorize and hit, at times go away, stay in residential in IVE Division, others stay in IVE West, others stay in IVE East. You even see Air Japan, which the Afande has not mentioned, because Air Japan is not in his areas of jurisdiction, maybe, but it is not mentioned. You see these areas where these guys live are these areas of IVE Division. So these are the gaps. I was like thinking the police must address this gap. The gap is addressed in relation to bringing the two DPCs on board. I am seeing this gap is too wide. The DPCs are doing completely nothing. IVE Division East DPC and West IVE Division DPC, they are doing completely nothing. We have never seen their steps, because these guys, when you see them, the residents don't stay in Central Division. They only come and hit, and they are now overwhelming the security of Central Division. And all the time you see issues happening in IVE Division, the Central Division rushes.
But Honorable, we have seen police doing this often, because if you move at night, if somebody like me who loves moving at night, to see what is going on in society, you may be able to see that is police moving each and every night. But then the question is, most of the times we have been saying, well, we've also been hearing sometimes that these boys we talk about have been used by people that we do not know. And I don't know how true it is, but really also I'll be able to still come back to you to explain that. Maybe in 1 minute, how far have you reached with the police patrols and the night patrols using motorcycles, and how much is it yielding? Are we seeing fruits of it really also achieving anything? Because most of the time, at times, I believe at night this will also be coming with its own challenges. We are seeing the police moving at night. We're also hearing bullets, which we do not know. Maybe at times as you're home, you hear a bullet and really do not know what is going on. Are we yielding? Because recently we did see police carrying out a survey where we did see also them arresting a number of exhibits. For instance, we did see the use of drugs that were impounded, and then other items, for instance, the motorcycles. Are we yielding maybe in terms of this?
I would love to pick it from where you asked, where is the gap? As police, we identify a number of challenges as being the root causes of this insecurity in town. One, our region, like another region somewhere elsewhere, there are persons who are quite lazy. When you see around, if you move to the streets now, you find the youth are idle. They have already moved to sit by the roadsides doing a lot of nothing, while the women are moving to markets and in other places to do work. Laziness among the youth is one factor, because these people are expected to be in town and find easy life within a city. Life in the city is not easy. Two, there is high school dropout within this region. A number of youths who you would think they should be in school, they are on the streets doing nothing. They don't want to go to school and they are not doing anything, yet they expect to be employed or to be doing work. The Uganda we have now is where when you don't have education, you can't be employed anywhere. even this time to do some of this work of office messenger, you should at least be a senior co-liver. If you're lucky, you can be less than O level, but with good language of English. This region also is a region where there is a lot of abuse of substances and drugs. People like abusing substances and drugs, mairungi, marijuana, and then when they've already done this, what do? These drugs make them very active, and when the drug tells you you are on top of a flat, a 7-star building, and then you feel that you are high up there, you can do anything. The drugs among the community is one factor that is fueling this. These drugs, where do they come from? People cultivate them in their houses, in their farms, in their homes. So, for us police, there is not much big gap. What I can call a gap is coordination with the community to really see to it that we address this.
Okay.
If we say the problem is drugs, too much marungi, too much marijuana, where does this marijuana come from? And where are they hidden? For us police, we need the community for information, and then the technical part of how to pick the drugs.
Okay.
What to deal with the people is that. And then one other big factor we have here is the porous borders we have with neighboring countries like Sudan and Congo. Many times these people commit crimes here. Immediately they finish committing the crime, they run to Congo. Congo is just very near here. And Sudan is very near. They run away, and then to pick them, you must do good intelligence, and if that intelligence does not come from the community, you find you are delayed.
Okay.
So these are some of the gaps we have identified.
Okay, maybe also we'll be able to hear from the community as we head into a short commercial break, and once we return back from that break, we also have the community members on what they are saying and really also what could be contributing these high numbers of criminality among the youths. But for now, let's first head in for a short commercial break, and when we return back, we're still going to be continuing with the discussion. This is still the Kokoliriko live show, West Nile TV, with me, Farish Majid, and I must say, if you really have any questions to these guests, use that is the feedback netting platforms and drop your comments there, and then definitely we shall be in place to also really share with the rest of the viewers. But for now, let's first run in for a short commercial break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that short commercial break. This is still a Kokoliriko live show. I must thank you so much who started watching us right from the time we began, and also at this time as we are still continuing with the discussion. And I must say, if you have anything that you feel that you need to put forward, you can use those feedback donating platforms. For those of you watching us on YouTube, you can drop your comments there, and for those of you on Facebook, you too can also drop your comments there, not forgetting those also accessing us via X, that is formerly known as Twitter. You can also really also drop your comments there, and we shall be able to sort of share them with the rest of the viewers. And I must say, it's a great pleasure. It's a Monday where the vibe is really so much as we come from the weekend, but really weekends have also not been good for some people where they have lost their properties. And this is the women also, those who move either at night, maybe we want to go to happening places, and this is where the challenge is actually coming from. And before we did head into the break, I did have, that is Alfred Matuai talking, the Community Liaison Officer for that is Central Division, talking the gaps. And really, before we also bring him back on board, let's first listen to maybe what the community members are saying, and as to what may be the solution to these problems here and there, as he comes back to also really expound on these topics. But for now, let's first listen to what the community members are saying. Thank you.
As a parent, it's very saddening to hear that these young people now, they have groups of gangs. They can also come up and, with that shame that they organize themselves in groups to terrorize people. It shows that the community, the society is breaking down. There's a breakdown in society. Because like when we were growing up, the children were for community. They were for community, and any member of community will get concerned about the child. If a child was not going to school, it was the community, neighbors will ask why the child is not going to school. But now, it's like everybody is now for himself. It means there's a breakdown in our tradition, and it's a very bad thing. So we really call upon the government to come in to see how we can help this situation. When you look at these children also, it is also a result of family, family problems. You find there's this what we call like these fights in the families. People, the husband and wife, they're not staying together. It also causes this kind of thing to happen. And so we really have to, as a community, as the families, we really have to come in. As the traditional leaders, as the religious leaders, as the government, we need to join our hands together to see how we can help this situation. Otherwise, this is a time bomb. This is a time bomb, and these children, when they are not brought under control, it is a very bad thing for us, especially for this for Arua as a city now. Yeah.
So it is the weakness of the parents. Why do I say so? You have a child whom you always you take advantage of punishing without supporting. You punish a child without supporting that child. How will that child be? And you really so barely that you are not good enough to raise up this child to some extent. For example, like if you take an example of there's the one in Kirabu. The Kirabu, they are saying that is a bad group, bad place. There is one parent in Kalab who is showing a good example. I cannot mention him by names. When his child reached school, the child was still not in P7, but he was promising big. Sometimes we should prefer to promise big things, big future things to our children, so that they may build trust in us. He told his child that once he finishes senior 6, he will be processing him and a passport to go outside. The child was very happy.
All right, that that means that really the community has a lot to do in terms of really bringing down the insecurity cases that we're talking about. And remember, we also did talk about the community playing a vital role that is in towards the growing cases of insecurity, where our friend Alfred Otokora was still explaining to us before we did head into the break. And now if I can be able to really also bring back him, that's in relation to the findings, more so where parental guidance is said to be lacking. How true is that? And how best can we ensure that we support these young ones? Because sometimes we really see these boys that are involved in the snatching of phones. These are young boys, and then the motorcycles also said to be borrowed in most cases. And how true is that? That is something also that we have been registering, that sometimes they go to the stages and borrow the motorcycles to go somewhere, but they instead go and use it for robbery. And how true is that in your findings as Uganda Police Force? You're most welcome.
Thank you, moderator. Those views given by the community are right to the point. Before we went for break, I was talking about our borders being porous and what have you. When these boys commit crime, they move away and then they come back after some time. When they get to know that you are following them up, they do the same. Those people who gave the opinion, poor parental control, true. A number of children in the city here, I talked of school-going age children. They're on the streets. Nobody seemed to bother. And when you ask where are the parents of these children, they are within the city. What do? Nothing. They do nothing. They have come to fill the city. They want to be within the city. Now, as somebody was putting rightly there, when the home becomes hot or not conducive for these children to live in, they move on the streets. Children used to be, in those days, used to be born for everyone in the community. But these days, when you touch somebody's child, they run to police. That is assault. Or they can go and attack you in revenge. Poor parenting by some parents is a factor to this. Now, take a scenario for Arua City. Children aged between 13 to 15 are the most dangerous at times in these robberies during broad daylight. And when these robberies are happening, what happens? Able-bodied men who could even use their energy to pick these children and hand them over to police, they watch it as a film, as a video.
But sometimes
nobody seems to give help.
But we have had cases of maybe also saying that these boys, after snatching this, there are sample that they take these things too. Have you come into?
I talked earlier here. There are parents who have come to the city. They are doing nothing, and they may be using some of the prostitution, some of the thefts we are having in the city here. Parents benefit from them. When these children loot money, money is used for feeding the home. They use for feeding the home. We have ever taken people to court. A lady who was, after robbery, who was hiding her son under the bed. When police detectives have seen the son entering the house, went to the lady was locking the door and moving away. When the police insisted that she should open, they want to pick somebody inside, she denied that there was nobody there. And this boy was arrested under the bed, covered with a sheet, and the property he had just robbed from the street, he was in possession of it. So we personally picked that lady with the child and charged both of them to court. So these parents are benefiting from this. Even the prostitution which the young girls are doing on the street, the parents are there. They benefit from the proceeds of this. Now, the community also have a role to play. The community seem to be unbothered. Police cannot do crime prevention alone. there must be effective collaboration between the community and the police to fight crime. There are cells here within the city where the community have come straight forward and told the criminal gangs that you have no room in our cell. And they don't go there.
Yes.
When they go there, they go at their own risk.
So I think the community is
So
really
the community should play a role to support police to deal with this. It is not just a matter of sitting. What excuse do they give us always? That when we report, they come for us. So how long are they going to fear this crime? The best thing is not to fear crime, and then we take on this crime.
If I may be able to really bring back Honorable Shino Rashid and really to also explain this. These are your voters. What have you done to these voters that are really also involved in criminality cases? Are there bylaws that maybe you have passed, or are there some measures you have been undertaking to ensure that you really bring back this vice that is being very much attributed to society, because the society now, it is clear that it is also the one that is fueling and promoting this kind of insecurity, because these boys live within the societies. We know them. This is something that we know them, and maybe if we were able to also really report them, but at times also we have cases of the society saying once we report these boys there, they come out. We do not know how they come out. So sometimes it's also suspected that they connive with security agencies to come out, and you will be able to sort of explain that later on. But now let me bring in Honorable Shino Rashid to tell us, as the political leaders, what are they doing? Because really, Central Division is one of the areas that is also very much affected by this vice. This is an area that you lead. It is very, very much affected, and if you look at some of the areas that have really become hotspots, I will mention areas like San Siro, areas like Aro Primary, areas like Crabs, Smash, and the rest. These have become, that is the hotspots in criminality, and not forgetting areas of also Zambia ends. What have you been doing as the leadership of the Central Division in terms of ensuring that this vice is brought down?
One, Central Division, there are laws in place. There are laws in place, not only by laws, but there are national laws that do not allow criminality. And these laws, we only advocate for them to be used effectively and accurately. And as community leaders on ground, we are also trying so much to lobby, to try to engage these boys into productive activities. Like Alawan had said, there are very many who have benefited from PDM. There are also very many who are taken for skilling in Izombo. There are very many youths that were taken for skilling in Izombo from the ghetto. We have already, we took about 30-something youths from the ghetto for skilling project. But now the problem there with the skilling, when they got skilled, they also come back to the community. There is no startup capital, which we need to advocate as leaders to the government to see that these youths, after acquiring skills, they are given startup capitals to start up their business. There are very many youths in these ghettos that when we talk to them, there are very many youths that we have talked to them, and they are able to change, and right now things that are happening in the city, they are now history to them. And let me come also back to the gaps of where bags are snatched. I remember this practice was one time also common, but when police came in very strongly, the practice, all the motorbikes were arrested and they were not released, the practice stopped. But this recent background in here, one of the reasons is one, the police recently auctioned motorbikes, and most of these motorbikes went to the hands of wrong people. I moved with the communities around down there, they tell us we are getting these auction motorcycles back for our activities. And these are issues we really want police to derive the criteria of auctioning. And there are times when that criteria of auction is derived properly, these criminals may not come and be part of the auctioning team. And also, I'm also seeing a gap. You know, bag is grabbed on the streets at times during broad daylight. There is a camera, someone sits on the camera 24/7. And these cameras are visible. What could be the coordination in between the cameraman and the policemen who are already in the field of duty? Along this line here, if we use the cameras effectively, I think we will track the people who are really grabbing the bags, and we will really track the real people not really doing operation and out of the target. The other time a bag was grabbed around Bamboo. This is a known person with names, where even he stays. When we followed out, really indeed he grabbed the bag. When I came to police, I myself was very frustrated. When I said the person was out there at the police, the flying squad was asking money from me to go and arrest that person. Don't you think these are some of the areas also that frustrated the community? As a leader, if I'm being asked to transport to go and arrest a criminal, as a leader, what about the ordinary person who is not in the position? You understand? At times you also see there are little gaps which we need to talk about, and we need to empower the community. Like the CLO had said here, the community must be empowered. One of the areas of empowering the community is timely response. How are we responding to the community cries once they are brought before the implementing bodies or before us, the leaders? These are issues that we really need to step in and see that we will address them. Two, it is a lot of dropout. The school dropouts are there, and also when you go to these schools, you find really the children in the schools there. Really, at times you see these other ones lack parent. The materials provided to them are really not enough. At times are not there. So these are issues that we really need to sit and tell the parents that they have a role to play in the growth of their children. There are issues that they really need to do so that the children grow up. Like me, I grew up on these streets without father and mother, and I'm able to be here in this position. Why? At times some of these things, you may say after parents play their role. At times peer groups also do much of these things. The peer groups contribute much to this. So we really need to see, people need to keep their children really very well. For us there on the streets, when you find a thief stealing, you will be lynched. I was there. You know, the practice normally there, people when sit by the roadside, police will come and arrest this. After arresting this, all the people who are seated here, and you go to police, you want to release them, the police tells you, now you bring for us the wrong ones and he will give you the bad ones. This practice has stopped, which we need to go back to the practice there, because the community know these people, the community knows these people, and the communities are keeping quiet. We have ever been threatened by them that we shall kill you, we shall do this, but we are still here, we are still living. At times the police must be helped properly.
Honorable, I think you have really spoken very much about that. That means that the police is still having a gap. And then I want to also really bring back, that is Alfred Matwe, to respond to this now, and maybe also say, what are those strategies, what is that different thing that you have done in terms of also avoiding this gap that we're talking about? Because really, if you have to ask money from police, I do understand the funding that the Uganda Police Force is also receiving is very much minimal. That would be why they're asking for money. And this is one thing I must also say is not good, because really, if we are to improve on this, then there's need for government to also ensure that the money that is being given to police also needs to be upgraded and really also increased. Because if that is not done so, then we may be able to also continue to witness this slow response that we're talking about. Also cases of that is asking the money, quid kidogo, which we're talking about, also continuing to go on. I don't know how, and maybe what you can say about that, and in response to what Honorable was saying, and then what measures or punishments do you have in terms of also bringing these errant officers who may want to ask money so that they do their jobs, because that is their line of duty, it is what they're supposed to do. And what if somebody does not have the money? Are we going to let them just go like that? That is something that they're expected to respond to, if really, in the next few minutes as we prepare to head in for another short commercial break.
Yeah, gone are the days when police was ill-facilitated. That does not mean that we are now well facilitated to fight crime than ever. We are saying we are in a comfortable zone to deal with circumstances of crime. Arua City is now boosted with a number of motorcycles for doing operations. There are trucks for firefighting, riot controls, and then for operations. When the city was split into divisions, what is left to be done is to facilitate Ivo Division with vehicles, which is soon going to be done. For the time being, Arua City, the police patrol, that is for the Central Business Division, is policing the other two where they get overwhelmed, Arua district always comes in, coupled with other vehicles for covert undercover police operations like the flying squad, the crime intelligence, the CID, they all go for operations. Now, this issue of asking for money for going to arrest is very unfortunate if it is still happening in some areas. We totally discourage police officers to ask for money in order to go to effect an arrest. Where a member of the public has reported to police an incident, we use resources within our means and we make sure we reach there. As I earlier said, slow or poor response may arise as a result of, say, if the lone police patrol we share with IVE division, both IVE East and West, is in one part of the division and there is need to respond in another quickly, there may be a bit of delay because that lone vehicle needs to travel from there and respond to this other incident. But what we always do is we see to it that any available vehicle, integrated highway patrol, the police patrol, or any other vehicle from the regional police commander, the regional CID, crime intelligence, we ensure that they respond. One thing we did here is the motorcycle squad, the motorcycle patrol, we initiated it as a quick response. They move in teams. When an incident is got, we found it very cheap to first of all send the motorcycle squad. But at times the challenge we get from the community is that the community still feel those people are acting outside the law. That is another way of patrolling which is sanctioned by the District Security Committee here, and the police management has encouraged that to be done so that we give quick service and prompt response to incidents affecting the community. Now, we have the CCTV cameras. It takes us a lot of time, or it is going to take us a lot of time to tell the public that these cameras are fully operational and functional. Now, in the crime where these gangs use motorcycles, they are mobile. On rare occasions you find them when they're executing their duties, when you find them stationary. They are always mobile. Immediately we receive an incident that something has been done, we consult the camera room to give us direction. We can link cameras. If the report says after the robbery these people are riding towards Air Japan to IVE division, we link cameras from there and we coordinate with security forces from these respective divisions to really get these people. So we also encourage the community to move where these cameras are able to view them. Avoid black spots, the panyas, where you think there are shortcuts and you end up being robbed and there cannot be trace of the footage for easy follow-up. The cameras have helped. We have succeeded in capturing people who do these crimes in the city. As I was saying earlier, we conducted targeted operations here with the aid of the camera. Where these boys are gathered, the camera people inform the operations team that there is a gathering there, they are smoking. And then the patrol teams, the operational teams raid the place.
Okay. What about the cases where they have been said to connect with security agencies? How true is that? Because the public has that issue now on their mind. They are saying sometimes we fear to report these cases because we know at the end of the day these criminals are going to come out, and this is something that I must also have seen witnessed happening out to. And at times police also do understand that we have no evidence to pin this people, because once they're taken to court they deny. And in most cases, once we see these people with evidence, what is done and how true could that allegation, because I want to treat it as an allegation which may not be true, it may be true. How, maybe, what can you respond and say slightly about that as
Yes,
we just summarize?
anybody has a right to his or her opinion. One of the obligations of a police officer is that there should be no compromise with the law enforcement on account of any relationship and what have you. And we are very critical where a police officer is going against the SOPs, that is going to aid or is going to connive with these thugs to give out operational information such that the operations we have planned fail. We normally take very drastic action on such people. I want the community to know that Uganda Police Force is now a professional force with very many structures to deal with indiscipline. And we have dealt deterrently within the force on those people who give us not to succeed in our operational endeavors. Some of them are in disciplinary courts, others have been dismissed from the force, others have been discharged from the force, and those we find criminally culpable, we have taken them to criminal courts. So that say that the community will fear to give us information because police connives with the criminals is not there. You can see from our operations, those who have ever visited our stations to follow up the relatives who have been arrested in these black spots, and the community have pinpointed them. There is enough evidence that these are the people giving us help. Those people always go home cursing that we don't want to release their relatives. But if the relatives are implicated in crime, we take them to prisons. We charge them to court. A number of them are already charged in court and they're in prison. Okay. Those with the community and with the local leaders, like my brother Oshino Rashid, when they come and say, we know this one has just fallen a victim of circumstances in the operation. Honestly, we screen them out and we give them a second chance.
That is something I must also say some member of public has just responded to here, and this is from Yumbe, and she has said this case has now been a challenge more so in the communities, and she says in Yumbe, once a thief is arrested, sometimes once people public want to do mob justice and also punish these people, people start saying, this is so and so's son, let's leave her, let's leave him or her, let's forgive them. And this is, I believe, also something that is contributing to the rampant cases of criminality that we are seeing here. And I believe what is happening in Yumbe could be the same that is happening within Arua City. And dealing with that, as we are running out of time, let's first run in for a short commercial break. And when we return back, we are still going to be continuing with this discussion. Remember, we are going like this up the hour of 9 a.m. But for now, let's first have this quick break. And when we return back, please, let's continue with the show.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON. All 52 games live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. This is still the Kokoliriko live morning updates with me, Farish Majid, and I'm still with the Honorable Oshino Rashid, and together with that is Matua Alfred Etokira, the CLO, that is Central Division in Arua City, and we are still discussing the surge in criminal cases, and really, I must say, we are just remaining with some few minutes. That will also allow us, that is pave way for the Ewalaza news team that is led by Fete Manuel and Mukulia Lawrence and the rest of the team to also really give you what is happening in the world of news that is in the Lugati language. So I think that is why we need to also really summarize the discussion with, and now we'll be able to be joined by Oshino Rashid. First of all, tell us maybe what message he has for the community members and really how they need to desist from these challenges, as also be able to cross over to Matua Alfred from the side of police. What message does he have for the community members? And really that will also really usher us into the closer of the show for today as we pave way for that is the news bulletin, as I said earlier on, but really without wasting any time, I allow me that is now bring back Oshino Rashid to also really put his final say on what we're discussing here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to encourage all us leaders to advocate for more police posts here within the city. When you go to Kampala, you find the nearby police posts. Why not here in the city? And the city is blessed with the two big barracks. One military barracks, the other one is police barracks that are all in the center of the town, the city. Why can't we spread and have more small posts somewhere to help these two big barracks to address the issues of insecurity? We have seen our LCs have also relaxed. The LCs, you see, the LCs, we have not talked about them here, but we need the LCs to max step up. Most of these children involved in criminality are children, are relatives of the LCs. That's why you see the crime rate is on high increase. So we LCs as the leaders from local council, we need to ensure that LCs come on board, tell us the truth, and we really hit to the maximum. To the community, let us stay calm. The police is doing all the necessary thing to bring the crime rate to normal. And we as leaders, we also try and hand in hand with police to see that the real people are picked and they serve their sentence of wrongdoings. So let us remain calm. No cause of alarm. The police is doing the right thing. Since there are fights that have come here and there, the situation is calm. No one is grabbing back. No one is stealing anything. The police has not registered any case since the day the scuffle has started. So we want to thank the community for vigilance. Let us remain very, very vigilant. To my ghetto youth, let us desist from criminality. Please, let us desist from criminality. We are all from the same background, but I want to encourage us to desist. Let us have a very productive thing to do. Thank you very much. I want to wish everybody Happy New Year. The viewers outside there, wish you Happy New Year and stay blessed forever.
All right, he is wishing you Happy New Year because this is the very first time he is appearing on the show this year. Not so. I believe that is why he is also wishing you. The year is just beginning. We are in February, as we are remaining some few days to really head into that is the month of March. but really it should also really be having questions to you as far as the plans that you laid at the beginning of the year, or else if you have not laid strategies, maybe your plans of what you want to attain this year, then this is still the time for you to start drawing the plans. And now allow me also really have, that is Afande Tokira Matua, to also really put his final say in relation to what the community needs to do, as we are just remaining with some few minutes to wind up with the show.
Thank you. I want to assure the community that as police, we are in charge of this situation. This situation has not gone out of hand. As I was giving some figures here, we have about 57 in the month of February alone of these youth gangs, members of these youth gangs, whom we have charged to court for different crimes ranging from drug and substance possessions and abuses. These, I call it robberies of bags, phones on the streets, and what have you. Two, the Boda industry in Arua City is getting concerned because each time this crime happens, they say Boda because the people are using motorcycles. They are in full support of our operations, and we are together with them weeding out those criminal elements using motorcycles to grab these bags. Now, as police, we have come up with a policy. No numberless motorcycle should be on the streets. If you see a few of them on the streets, that is their chance for the time being. Any motorcycle we have captured on the streets without a number plate, if claimed, it shall leave the police station when it is duly registered. Number plates are fixed from the police station onto it, and it shall be given out. We have a number of motorcycles, not less than 30, numberless, captured in our stations. For the time being, those are our motorcycles. Unless somebody comes and claims and proves that this is a motorcycle, I was genuinely riding it on the street, but not for crime. I call on the community to support each other and to support police.
Okay.
Where these crimes of these petty robberies by youth are happening, members of the community are not supporting that lone woman who is being attacked by 3 young boys grabbing her phone, grabbing her bag. We look at it as if it cannot happen to them, or it cannot happen to us. Look at that person, give any support you can give to that person who is suffering in the hands of these boys. And let us not fear crime. If we show to these unruly youths that there is no room for crime in Arua City, we shall all achieve. I'm calling for collaborative engagement, effective one, from the community with police and even other security agencies. I want to appreciate security agencies like the UPDF, the prisons, because we police were at times known by the members of the community. But when we ask them to come and support our undercover security operations, where we need to use people who are not identified, we pick some people from the new faces, and we have succeeded. We are going to continue doing this. Parents should look after their children properly. This time, no room to romance anybody. When this person is engaged in a robbery, we are treating it at that level of a robbery, and these persons shall answer charges against them. I want to thank West Nile TV for always bringing us to share this with the community. We are using both the carrot and the stick. This is the carrot one, where we come with the head of security and social services to sensitize the community about what is happening, what they should do to prevent crime, and then alongside that, the operations officers, they are doing the enforcement of it. And when you are got, after we have talked here, in the enforcement, that qualifies you to go and face the law immediately. There will be no compromise over that. I want to call upon the people to really join hands with security forces give us the information, whether true or not. Call our emergency numbers. Any number of a police officer you know, give that information and we shall quickly respond to it.
All right. All right, thank you so much for you coming through to also talk to the public, and really I must thank you so much for coming through as we now come to a close of today's discussion as we pave way, that is for the Eolaza news team. But before we really head out, if I can be able to appreciate those who really watched us from the various online platforms, I want to appreciate, that is Obedigu James. He actually said good morning, and really we also say good morning to you, and thank you so much for being a part of the Western Kokoliriko live show. And I also do want to appreciate my brother, that is Good Sticker. That is the Ijoru hit maker. That is for the Arigapo. I know that music is in relation to that is family affairs, but now we expect you to do also a song that is in relation to what we are seeing happening, that is the theft, and then other criminal cases that would also really be good, because we have to transform the society together. We all have a part to play. That music that you're doing, maybe the poems, and this is where we also expect those other people in the other craft industry, maybe that is the arts and the other craft industry, also to really come up with other things that would also really engage the youth, maybe also transform their lives. And that is how I want to appreciate my brother Good Sticker. Just like him, also I want to implore the rest of the musicians maybe to start coming up with songs that would also really have an impact on society in terms of changing the livelihoods of the poor. On Facebook, I want to appreciate that is Twaha Wachawa Seme. I want to also really appreciate my sister, that is Halima bint Kasim, that is for watching us. Not forgetting UG Vibes Brayo and the rest. Really, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of this show. And really with that, we come to a close of today's discussion, the Monday edition, and we shall be able to really bounce back again tomorrow for the same show and the same time on the same frequency, that is West Nile Television. For now, I'm out of the show. Up next is the news bulletin in Lubarati. Thank you.